Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. I'm your host Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're going to go over the top 10 things we sold in the month of October 2020 in our eBay charity shop. There's going to be lots of great high-end items here, so if you're looking for some more information, this is the video for you. We're going to go over these 10 items. Actually, there's 11 items, and we're going to go over those also. And so definitely go down there, click the subscribe button if you want to learn more to earn more on eBay, and definitely click the like button during any time during this video. We really appreciate that. Let's start off with our first item. I guess we can say this is number 11. I did sneak an extra one in there, and I'll tell you about that a little bit in a ways during the video why there's 11 in this one, and it's some interesting stuff down the road, so definitely stay tuned. First up, we have these Japanese handmade. These are vacuum titanium tumblers. We talked about this before in another video, and these actually ended up selling. What they are is like these kind of titanium tumblers, and they're very expensive. And I've talked about this before. Like I said in another video, I think I was doing an interview with another reseller, and we talked about this particular thing. And this came from the Sus Gallery. I really honestly doubt you're ever going to see these in the wild, but this is the top 10 video. Definitely show everything that we sold. And we did have a starting price at $400. I mean, I did see some of these single ones were selling for 2 to 250, but honestly, right now, the kind of market is a little weak on these, but I still priced them high. And I used my high-low theory. And for those that don't know what the high-low theory is if you have a higher end item, it don't feel bad like trying to get the most for it. Like even doing prices that it seems insane. I've done this before with art, and it's worked out very well. So just price up. You can always bring the price down, because if you price too low, you can never bring the price up because it'll it'll sell at that low price. So always do the high low theory. Let's see what the total is on this one. Let me scroll down a little bit. My apologies. This sold for a total of $288. So right around kind of what we're thinking about for a single one. And the market is kind of weak on these, so just getting that sale actually was really a really good thing for sure. So look out for these. They have like kind of Japanese writing on the side. You can kind of barely see that. And like I said, a lot of sellers that are selling these are from Japan. So I don't know if this was like an import. It does say Sus Gallery on the cover. So just kind of keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. These are really cool. I wish I should have took a photo of them out of the plastic, but I just wanted to leave them in there. They looked actually really, really cool. I would never, this is definitely something that would, even if I had the money, I don't know if I'd get a $200 tumbler, but like I said, to each their own. We are very happy for the sale and we appreciate it for sure. Next up, we have this Leonard Reedy. This is a watercolor Native American wild horse roundup, as you can see here, and it's got the signature there in the corner. See if there's a photo of that. I hope there is. And you can see that the back tells a little bit of a story. And we talked about art before in the past, and if I can remember, I'll leave a link up above. You can click up that little card there about art if you're interested in art. Art is definitely one of those subjects that, if you're not familiar with it, at least if you get a little bit of knowledge, you'll be able to know what to look for. But anyways, there's a signature right there. Watercolor. Native American art subjects does very well. Also, right now, Asian art is really hot and in. So definitely look out for that kind of stuff too. But Native American art is always done well, especially the artists. Now, it's just, it's a combination of subject matter, quality, and the artist. There's some artists that actually sell for very, very well. Remington's probably one of the most well-known, Native American, old country, America artists. So just, there's lots of different artists out there to look out for. But this one sold for a total of $399. And this is the kind of stuff that you can easily find at garage sales and thrift stores and Goodwills. Sometimes finding these stuff at Goodwill is kind of a little harder nowadays, but I have found, I think I sold a painting for like $400 or $500, like maybe 5 years ago, that I found at a Goodwill for $5. So I mean, this stuff's out there. It's just getting your feet wet with art, because I know it's art could be very intimidating to some folks, and it was definitely intimidating to me. many years ago till you figure out that it's like super easy to kind of get into and start to learn about. Like I said, check out that video. I mean, a couple of the pitfalls I guess I can give you real quick is like sometimes you won't be able to read the signature of an artist, and sometimes there's reproductions and there's prints, there's originals, and there's all kinds of other little things to kind of take into account. But once you start to get your feet wet, you'll realize that art is something you probably should have got into, many years ago. And by the way, if you're ever going to find $1 million thing at a garage sale, it's probably going to be a piece of art. Next up is these Balenciagas. These are track sneakers, size 37. Look at these things have some wear to them. I mean, that doesn't have a lot of wear, but it's got some yellowing, as we can see here. And if you've never heard of this brand, it's definitely a Bolo brand. I do think they do not reproductions, basically like fakes, and I want to call them reproductions, but they're not. What do they call it? Not knockoffs. There's another word for it. I'm already losing my brain, and I'm already into the third item here. It's not reproductions. It's not knockoffs. I'll figure it out. Anyways, definitely look out for the quality on these because quality is going to tell you a lot. Balenciaga is a up and coming designer brand. I mean, you've probably heard of it if you're into shows. If you're into shoes and clothes. This sold for a total of $418. So this is a really cool sale. And like I said, it's got some yellowing and stuff. We've had a couple of these come in the shop this year, and we did sell another one. That was actually, it's a funny story, and I guess I can tell you now. There was actually a famous singer that will go unnamed that donated some of her shoes. And if you guys knew who it was, we couldn't actually say who it was because of just privacy issues and things like that. But the shoes that we sold could have probably gone for a way higher if we were able to disclose that. But anyways, that's a little fun thing about working for the American Cancer Society and what we do in the Discovery Shop. So we really appreciate that one particular singer for donating that stuff. That was nice. Thank you. Next up, we have this Tiffany Company. This is a turquoise 20-inch necklace. This is $750 gold, which equivalates. I just made a word. I'm making words up today. It's equivalates. $750, I think, is a European gold mark, and that means 18 karat gold. So it's actually, like a higher quality metal, higher quality content of gold. And for those that don't know, real quick, the carats in gold, like 14 karat gold, just means that the lower the carat, the more extra different metals like copper and silver and different things like that they put into the metal to make it stronger. That's why jewelry is usually 14 karat, because they put in other metals to make it stronger, because gold is a very soft metal in the 24 karat count, and so they have to actually add some different metals to it to make it stronger. So that's a little bit of what that is all about. Anyways, we sold this for a total of $497. Really cool thing. Another thing about Tiffany, and I guess we can get into that, a little bit later in this video, is there's actually some reproduction knockoffs. I think knockoffs was the word I was trying to look out for the Balenciagas. So just be careful with Tiffany and Company. There are some knockoffs. I've had a couple of silver ones that really threw me through a loop, but then once like here's the thing too, what's nice about what we do here at the Discovery Shops American Cancer Society is we get a really lot of nice, and I have never experienced this with any of my personal eBay accounts, is people are willing to reach out to us, like different eBay buyers and sellers, and let us know like, hey, I think this is a knockoff, or hey, you got this wrong, it's this. And I've never experienced that with any other like accounts that I've been a part of. So I think that's thank you for those that have been doing that, because we get that from time to time, because we don't know everything. And there's a bunch of volunteers that do listings and things, and all of us, we don't really know like 100% of everything. So we really appreciate that. But anyways, back to Tiffany and Company. There are some knockoffs. Just be warned. Compare them against other things that have sold. What's nice about Tiffany and Company is it turns over very well. So there's lots of documentation of whatever you have. So just look in. So like one of the pro tips is to look at this Tiffany and Company copyright logo. It's going to be somewhere on the piece, and now I'm not completely sure about like I think like all the Tiffany, even all the way back to like the 1900s or whatever. The very very antique old stuff will have Tiffany Company stamped in it in some way, and that's usually the dead giveaway for any of the reproductions. Is sometimes it's a little sloppy in the print there. So, anyways, I think I went a little bit too far of a tangent. I know I've actually read that you guys appreciate when I kind of take a little bit of a deep dive into these different kind of things and stuff. And I think that's why you watch these videos. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, definitely go down there, click the like button. If you leave a comment and say hello, I would really appreciate that too. You can definitely do that, and that helps out the algorithm. The crazy, crazy algorithm. Up next is this is the kind of odd item that we had, and that's why we had 11 items today. But I want to say like I do lots of different kind of side hustles and hobbies, and one of the things is I make trading cards for different companies, and we had a bunch of these samples, and I ended up donating them to the American Cancer Society, and we raised over $1,200. So huge shout out to the Blockchain Heroes crew for allowing me to sell our samples. And so, like I said, we raised over $1,200. I think it was actually more than that, maybe 1,300, close to that. And like I said, this is like basically, samples and things. We made our own certificate of authenticity, and I'm just showing this because it's just different things that we sell. Trading cards have been really hot. This is actually a blockchain thing. So basically, these are like digital cards that we created physical representations of them, and then they were selling and they're shipping now the actual cards. And there's a lot to go into this, and I don't want to waste anyone's time, but I wanted to just put that, this was something cool that I did, and then it raised pretty good money. So huge shout out to everyone who was involved with this project. It's really cool. Next up, we have this Lalique, and this is my favorite. Why is this? Oh, this like Lalique is my favorite glass. We've talked about Lalique in before, and this is a really cool piece. This thing was huge. This thing was 14 pounds. Lead crystal, and for those that don't know, lead crystal. Usually, if you pick it, if you pick up a piece of glass, and it seems oddly heavy for its size, that's usually lead crystal. There's the whole thing about flicking it and making the little sounds, and like there's some I will tell you there's people that say that tinging crystal is a wives' tale, and I will tell you that it's not 100% a wives' tale, because there is some aspect to the flicking it and the tinginess of it. But I will tell you straight up, if you're dealing with glass, if it's heavy and it doesn't seem like, oh, this is a small thing, why is this so heavy? It's usually lead crystal. And my apologies for not knowing the whole like mechanism of the lead that goes into the crystal and all that kind of stuff. But just know that it's probably lead crystal. And another pro tip for glass is if you see some etchings on the bottom, as you can see here, there's some right there. It says Lalique France. Just look out for that kind of stuff. If it's got a sticker, good for you. Like Waterford does a lot of that stuff. And to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure Lalique has done stickers, but they will always etch their names in the bottom of the glass. So always look for that. And if you see some kind of etching on the bottom, it's usually a good piece of glass. Like stuff made in China is never, like 99% of the time, is not going to have etchings on the bottom. So it's almost like a bowl. It's almost like bowls and statues and different things like that. Just flip it over, look underneath it. It's going to tell you a lot of a story. This thing was huge, and this sold for a total of $691. So this is a really cool sale. Some of these have sold for higher. I think right now the glass and pottery market is down as far as like sales, and this is probably something that's been going on for the last 10 years, especially pottery. Like if you're into like investment collectibles, which I definitely highly suggest not getting collectibles to invest in because the markets are just so weird. But I will say pottery is at literally all-time lows, in my opinion. So even glass is kind of funky right now in prices, but I think like eventually at some point those prices will go back up. but I think right now pottery is just like bottom, bottom, bottom. So if you have really, 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 really rare, nice pieces of pottery, it's probably wise right now in 2020 to hold on to them and just wait for maybe another 5 to 10 to 20 years before you retest the market. Because there's, like I said, there is some really, really high end glass and really, really high end pottery, but it's just not fetching like those prices unless they're super rare and they're very particular, items and things like that. So there's that. Speaking of Tiffany and Company, we have the solid gold 18 karat ball stud dangle chain earrings. These were really cool. And these sold for a pretty good amount of money now. And it wasn't because of the gold content, because I think when I calculated the gold content in there, it wasn't even like a lot. Um, so half the money basically that we got for these were basically just because they were Tiffany and Company. This one was nice because it had the box, it had the little pouch, and that actually has a lot of weight, no pun intended, to the price of some particular pieces because collectors want to see that, and that gives them a little bit more confidence in the authenticity of some of these pieces. And I think, let's see if I was smart enough to. Now this was one of my listings. Yeah, so I did take a little bit of a close up of the Tiffany Company. That's a very clean stamp, so that looks good to me. So if there's any kind of like weird, excuse me, imperfections in the logos, that's usually where some collectors have told me to look first. And usually, the fakes will have some kind of odd thing going on with the stamps in the hallmarks. As you can see here, AU 750. This is another European gold mark, which equivalates to. I keep saying equivalates. I don't even know if that's a word. Equates. That's the word. Like I'm trying to figure out the word. I think it's equate, and I get a little dilettante, and I even think that's not even a word. Like when you kind of you use fancy words, but you really you really don't know what they mean. I think that's what a dilettante is. I think I'm going off subject again. Anyways, back to the auction, or the listing, I should say. I always say auctions. I'm very old school eBay, like literally 1995, 96 eBay since then. And so I always say auctions when I should say listings. And so you can usually tell an old school eBay person that because they'll say auctions instead of listings because that's just auctions. It was just nothing but auctions back in the day. Anyways, we sold this for a total of $714. Really cool sale. This was part of the holiday event, and I'll leave a link above for that. You can check that out. That was like 2 hours of nonstop QVC action. I really enjoyed doing that, and hopefully we can do something like that again. That's a little bit more professional, but I had definitely a fun time, and we raised a pretty good amount of money this month for this kind of stuff. So, anyways, definitely look out for Tiffany Company. That's a no brainer. Every reseller should know about Tiffany and Company by now. Next up, we have this Movado. This is a ladies' jeweled 14 karat watch. This kind of stuff is really hard to find, though. Estate sales and garage sales, this stuff could pop up if people don't know what they're looking for. Obviously, it's going to say 14 karat somewhere on a watch. Gold watches, real quick, in my experience with gold watches, is they're going to be marked in some way. So if you're going through a garage sale and there's like a box of watches, just definitely flip them over. Gold. Here's another pro tip too, and here's the thing: like, there's so many cues about like things to look out for, and one of the things is gold doesn't tarnish because I don't know, there's some weird property about gold. So, a box of rusty watches, a solid gold watch is gonna pop out, and gold's such a heavy metal, which is odd because it's a soft metal, but it's heavy. It's like a really crazy properties as far as the atomic stuff. It's gonna shine. It's gonna it's gonna like sing to you. I guess that's what I should say. The thing is gonna sing to you in a box of junk. So just look out for that kind of stuff that's out there. I've never found a gold watch in the wild, but I'm sure they're out there. Even in jewelry jars or something like that. I'm sure that stuff's in there. This sold for a total of $893. So this is a really cool item, and definitely look out for that stuff. Here we go with the top 3. Number 3 is going to be a vintage Wallace Rose Point sterling silver flatware. 38 pieces. We talked about sterling before. We've sold, this year has been like the year of like flatware. I swear, I've sold maybe 3 sets this year, and everyone else seems to be getting these. If you're at a garage sale or estate sale, flip the spoons over. If it says sterling anywhere on it, definitely pick it up. Though I think there's actually a couple companies that are actually called Sterling and something, so like just be careful. That's a little trick, that they do. But anything that says Sterling, you should still buy it. You know what I mean? Because it's usually going to be good. Another pro tip about the knives is usually knives are going to have sterling silver handles, and then the blades are going to be stainless steel. So just remember that. I don't recall I'm sure there are pure sterling silver knives, but any of the modern, mid-century modern, like 50s, 40s, 60s, 70s, 80s, any of that sterling silver flatware is going to have stainless steel knives or stainless steel blades. So if you're just buying those alone, just remember that most of the weight is going to be in the blade. So I guess that's a little bit of a pro tip there for you guys. You're welcome. Oh yeah, this sold for a total. Forgot about that. This sold for a total of $1,229. So $1,229. That's with shipping and tax and all that kind of fun stuff all wrapped into one. Number 2 is, this was actually probably one of the highlights of the month as far as my selling. This was a Bill Nebecker. This is a sign from 1994 bronze sculpture bookends. So these are bookends. These things are super heavy. And as you can see here, most sculptures are going to have some sort of signature on them. So just look at it. Usually the cheap China knockoff ones are not going to have like, amazing kind of signatures. And you're going to be able to tell usually a Chinese knockoff from like a legitimate bronze sculpture piece. And this is some nice bookends. And then you can see here, 1994, 46 out of 50. That should tell you a lot. If you ever see some bronze pieces that are numbered, especially if the additions are low, that's something to definitely do a little bit more research on. As you can see here, it's like a saddle and some stuff, and these are really cool. And these sold actually really quick. We did take a best offer, and I did do a lot of research on these because probably one of the most amazing things about my job is I get pretty much paid to research stuff. And so my knowledge base is just expanding every month. And it's one of the things that I love, and that basically helps everyone. The more I know, the more we can get for things, the more money we can raise for charity, for the American Cancer Society. It's all like a win-win-win-win-win-win-win situation. So these were amazing. I absorbed so much information just researching these. Shipping these was a pain in the ass, sort of, because they're super heavy. And here's the thing: like shipping statues sometimes can get a little crazy. And I should probably do a video next time I ship one of these crazy. This one was actually a little easier because it's got 2 flat ends, and so that's I shouldn't complain because shipping it actually was not that bad. But shipping, I have shipped bronze statues before, and sometimes they get a little crazy because there's like arms and legs and funky little like things all hanging out. And maybe I'll do a video at some point next time I ship one of those crazy ones. But actually, you know what? Shipping this thing wasn't that bad. It was just super heavy, and I just got to make sure that everything was all situated. You don't want to have anything shaking around or rattling around because these things are super heavy. And I wanted to say these things were maybe like 12 or 14 pounds each. They were really nice bookends. Like if I was to have bookends, these would be the ones because for books you want to have heavy bookends so that the bookends don't. We get bookends in from time to time, and some of them are like really flimsy. I'm like, what kind of books are these actually going to hold? Like these are like industrial strength bookends for sure. Anyways, the moment you've been waiting for, we sold that for $1,254 total. So very surprising to me, to be honest. Like I didn't expect these to go for that high, but they did. Number 1 here is antique 800 silver. This is 80 pieces. You can see a little bit of a theme. here for the top three. Flatware is definitely, I mean, silver and gold has been, reaching pretty good highs this year. I think gold was at a high all-time high this year. Silver hasn't reached an all-time high this year, though. I think the highest price for silver was like, I don't know, maybe 50 something dollars in 2011. And I think it was reaching maybe $24, $25 this year. It's gone back down. But anyways, you can definitely play that game too. Is this wait? For me, like as a portfolio holder or whatever, and I do have a little bit of my portfolio in silver. Is you usually want to wait till you see it. Sometimes could take 20 years, 30 years, before you see an all-time high. And so, you know, we've seen some pretty good upticks on silver. But anyways, I think that's why a lot of this stuff has been selling very well lately. Is people buying in for melt purposes? People are going to just melt this stuff down. Anyways, 800 silver. It's not 925. It's not sterling, so it's a little bit. It's got a little bit more like amalgam in it. Different types of metals. It's not pure. It's like 80% silver basically. So if you ever see anything that says 800 silver on the back, and then I swear I think I took a photo of that. Yes, I did. I'm smart. This is like a European mark. Get out of there. See, it says 800. That's like basically the 925 mark for this particular thing. So it's not going to be, as valuable as 925. If this was 925, this would be like over $2,000 for sure. Anyways, we took a best offer for seven. This was we sold this for a total of $1,795. So $1,795 for this piece. And I went back and forth with like got a dozen potential buyers with this because people want the low ball me. So here's another thing too. Selling gold and silver is very nice, and the sell-through rate is very quick. You just have to know your weight and your prices because you can get taken advantage of. So, like I said, there's like literally hundreds of gold and silver buyers on eBay that will lowball you to death. So just remember that. To know your prices and hold steady because eventually this stuff sells. If you need the money like right away, I get it. But if you can hold off and wait for those prices, because like I said, silver could go up $10 in a day. I mean, that's pretty rare to do, but I mean, technically, in theory, silver can go up $10 in a day. And so this whole thing, could be worth $1,000 more in 24 hours. So, that's just one of the things to kind of work. Or it can go the other way. It can go down $10 in a day. Silver's more likely going to go down in a crazier price than go up in a crazier price. So, anyways, I kind of ranted and raved here. We're almost at a half an hour. By the way, if you've stuck around this long, definitely leave a comment below. I want to know, like, does people? I mean, I see analytics and it tells me one side of the story, but do people actually watch this all the way through to the end? I'm very curious if you do. Definitely leave a comment below. Once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. This was a great month. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you want to check out our eBay store, I'll leave a link in below. 100% of the proceeds benefits the American Cancer Society, so it's a win-win-win for everyone. One day we're going to beat this thing for sure. I hope everyone is having a safe year. I know this year's been a little crazy, but I hope everyone, and I wish blessings and hugs to everyone out there, and good luck sourcing. Anyways, I'm Chris, Thrift Shop Hustler. We'll see you next time. Take care.